My name is Brianna. I am one of the co-presidents for Art and Medicine for this year. I'm here with my good friend and co-president, Zav Leonard.
Hi, everyone.
So at medical school, I think it's really important to incorporate other things outside of medical school that can fill your time, such as extracurricular sports, arts, or any kind of societies. And fortunately at Bristol Medical School, there are a variety of different societies and extracurricular options that are available to students.
It's incredibly difficult with a subject like medicine, which can very easily become sort of a bit all-encompassing to have something else in your life, for sure. People who are applying to medical school have to have other interests by necessity, because otherwise you don't really get past the interview. If you're a fairly one-dimensional person, then you're unlikely to be at medical school. So
True.
It's a real shame when people get to university and start feeling like, everything else sort of has to go by the wayside, because this is, I'm a medic now, I'm focusing on this is my life. And actually, it's just not the case. And you should be spending as much of your time as you can, sort of engaging in other interests as well. Because you have at minimum got 5 years of medicine, and at maximum until you retire of medicine. You might as well get into extracurricular while you can. Admittedly, from sort of third year onwards, when you're spending a lot of your time in sort of academies and hospitals that aren't in Bristol, during the week at least, medicine is kind of everything. It almost has to be Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It is, that's what you're doing. You're spending time in hospital with patients, clerking people. But that's sort of what's good about arts and medicine for me, is that any gap you have, you can kind of, if you so desire, sort of, engage with the kind of things that we put on, which I think is great. And in first year and second year, when you have comparatively a lot of time to sort of engage in extracurricular activities, you can do more or less if you want to. It's completely up to you.
I know when I was applying to medical school, I really enjoyed doing art. I took art all through school. I enjoyed doing it just in my downtime at home. And I was really grateful that Bristol offered a society like Art and Medicine, where I could continue those passions and those interests while studying medicine. And like you were saying, Zav, it's so easy for medicine to consume your whole life, and it's so important just to keep that balance.
Yeah, and that's sort of, everyone can get involved, as we've just said. And that's sort of exemplified by the fact that this year, we've got to recruit a first year, because obviously the first years aren't at uni yet. But apart from that, we've got a committee member, at least one committee member from every year in the medical school, including intercalation year, I think, which is pretty good. That just it kind of demonstrates that everyone's got a bit of time for art, at least. Lots of people feel the need to give up certain things, but we sort of pride ourselves on your involvement can expand to fill the gaps that you leave it, which I think is really nice. For me to say
And next year coming up, it may be a challenge to try and organize things in a socially distance friendly way, but there are a lot of ways that you can do things on Zoom. We can do painting on Zoom, we can do the seminars on Zoom. So I think we're still going to be carrying out all our regular events next year, full speed ahead.
We saw a nascent kind of idea sort of earlier on in this sort of quarantine period, where we ran something called Art in Isolation, or was it Art for Isolation? It was one of those, I can't remember. Where we sort of showcased some art that people had been sending us that they'd been doing in quarantine. And some of it was just beautiful art. Some of it sort of enabled people to sort of express their opinions and feelings towards the situation. You love. It's not for me to say you love. Go with the brothers, boo, you know how we do. It's so the point is, don't be afraid of getting involved, especially with arts and medicine, because I mean, it's difficult to play football when you have to stay 2 meters away from everyone, but you can make art wherever you are, whenever you're free. And it's a lovely sort of group of people who are very happy to talk about and appreciate whatever you have time to do. So, join in.
And like you were saying, Zav, I think you said it perfectly. Art and medicine really allows you to tailor your preferences and what you like to do in terms of literature, poetry, visual art, anything you like. There is room for you in art and medicine. So do feel free to check out our Instagram at Bristol AIM, or our Facebook page, Bristol Art and Medicine, and our Twitter feed at Bristol AIM.